Hey guys, this is Rob here again today. So today we got another variable wattage mod to do a review on today, and this mod did come from focalec.com, and I will put a link in the description down below so you guys can check out their website. They got some really good prices, and they got some quite a few items and on their list, and they do have some USA items, and then they also do have items like that comes from across the sea. So the item I'm talking about here is the temperature controlled vapor flask version 3. Now, the vapor flask itself can't be a clone because this is all normal. Now, the chip, I'm not 100% for sure. I don't know if it's Evolve chip or not, but I do know when you power it up, it does say the name of the company that this vapor flask did come from. So I'm not 100% for sure, but because I do know on some of the DNA chips, people do still change some of the names on it, like the older dna40s and stuff. They did have, not all of them said Evolve, some of them actually did have their other people's names or companies on there. So I'm not 100% for sure if it's a clone DNA chip or not, but this is the 40 watt temperature controlled chip. Now, I've been using this for a while now. Now the temperature control works excellent on this. I have not had one dry hit with Ni200 wire, which is nickel wire, which that's all this will read for temperature control. I do have an Atlantis Aspire on here, but I'm just reading the Canthal right now, and I do have the temperature control to turned off. That's the way you want to have it if you're not using the nickel wire. It does have a USB charge port, and it does work. I have used the USB charge port, and I also take the batteries out, put them in a regular Nicor charger, and charge them up as well. It is a dual batteries in parallel, dual 18650 batteries. So let's go ahead and dive down on the table and take a look at this thing along with the box and the information that it did come with. Alright guys, so here we are up and close down on the table, and this is the box that the Vapor Flask version 3 did come to me in, and as you can tell it does say temperature controlled, or you can just get the variable voltage one. I think they got a Vapor Flask 50 watt that's just variable voltage. I'm not 100% for sure. Now it does have the authentic, as you can tell it says King's In, and you scratch that off, you get the authenticity of it for the company. And then it says Vapor Flask, and you can get this in a blue, black, silver, or red is the colors that they have. So we'll go ahead and open this up here, and you do have your little instruction manual, and it did come with this little velvet suede style carrying case, which is real nice to keep it nice and clean. So in the instruction manual, this does say it does have protection alarms, and it does say you got alarm information. It says check atomizer, battery low voltage, atomizer open, atomizer short, atomizer too low, atomizer too high, and you do have short circuit protection of the battery for putting them in the wrong ways for those drunken times, and then you also do have prevent overheating protection, and it does have a little diagram of how to put the batteries and stuff in. So this is an aluminum body. It does take two 18650 batteries. Voltage is 1 volt to 9.9 volts. Power and wattage is 1 to 40 watts. And it does have temperature control from 200 degrees Fahrenheit to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. And you do have atomizer resistance is 0.16 to 2 ohms. And you do have 510 connector, and it does have the package, the gift box. So everything you need to know on there, there's not too much, it's not real complicated. This one here is the blue one that I do have here with the Doge version 2 on there. And this does have a USB charging port, which I have used that, and I also have taken the batteries out and just charged the batteries themselves. And as you can tell here, we do have brass bottom contacts for the battery. And you can basically stick a screwdriver in here, a big long flat tip screwdriver. You can put a little screwdriver in a little hole and untwist it, or you can use a coin to put it on there. Really nice. And then you got the Vapor Flask made in USA V3 for version 3. Nice clicky buttons. Alright. And then you have your up here and your down here for your wattage. Now this does have round robin, so as you can tell on here, we'll go 39, 40, and then it goes over to 1 again, and then you can go back. So it does have round robin on there, which is real nice. And I hold it like this so my screen sits just like that so I can actually see it as I'm holding it here. Fits perfectly in the curvature of your hand. Feels real nice. Your thumb gets up in there. Shouldn't have to worry about dropping this or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and take the Doge RDA off, and as you can tell, it does have the brass 510 connection, and that is an adjustable 510 pin. You guys stick a little screwdriver in there and you can adjust that. So almost pretty much all your mods that all the tanks and RDAs I've put on here, I can get them to sit flush, but I do have to adjust the pin with the screwdriver. The only con that I do have with this is if you are a type person that has the airflow coming from the bottom of your tanks, like the 510, this little notch right here is supposed to allow for airflow, but the 510 connector, they did not get centered 100%. As you can see, the notches do not line up, but I don't use bottom airflow controlled 510 connections, so that doesn't bother me. We'll go ahead and thread this on. I haven't had any problems with any of the stuff I own threading on this, and as you can tell, that is nice and flush on here. Alright, let's go ahead and take a little vape. So here's the screen. Alright, so you got your normal 5 clicks to lock and 5 clicks to unlock. So we'll go ahead and lock this, and then it says it's locked. So you can get into stealth mode or non-stealth, but let's go ahead and go into stealth mode. You hit the fire button and the down button, and you just hold them in, and you just wait, and it says normal, and you keep holding them in, and then it says stealth mode. So now we're in stealth mode. We unlock it. Now it says unlock, and now we're firing. Alright, so to lock it back up, so we're locked, and then we just hit the fire button and the down button again to put it back to normal. Now we're back to normal mode. Unlock it. Now we're back to firing. So let's go ahead and flip this. We can also flip the screen. So let's go 5 clicks. So we're locked, and we're going to hit the power button and the up button this time. We just hold them in. It'll say left mode, and then you just keep holding it until it says right mode. Now it says right mode. As you can tell, it is flipped over. Let's go ahead and put it back to normal. Now we're back to the right mode. Then we just 5 clicks to unlock it. Now we can lock this into so you can't adjust the wattage or anything anymore while you're vaping. You just hold these 2 up and down buttons at the same time, and then it will lock it. So now, as you can tell, we cannot change the wattage, so we are locked in. But we so you cannot, it just basically locks the whole device. So we'll go ahead and hit these 2 up and down again. Go to normal mode. Now we're back to normal. So we'll go ahead and yeah, so we can go back and change the wattage and stuff once again. So let's go ahead and do the temperature controlled on this. Hold on a second. Let me get a. You got to use Ni 200 nickel wire with this to use the temperature controlled. So let me go ahead and get myself an RDA for doing that with. So right now I do have it in the off position. Here's my little nichrome wire here, or I'm using the YEP RDA, the authentic YEP RDA, and we're going to put this on there. I do have a nickel wire built in this. So let's go ahead and to get into the temperature mode, click 5 times. because I do have it off. As you can tell, you got your wattage, and then down below here's the off, and then you got your battery meter. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but you got your battery meter, and off down below is for voltage or temperature, which temperature is off. And if you normally when you have an RDA on here, it just show voltage there, and I don't have an RDA on it, so I have no resistance right now. So we got it locked, and then you just hit the up and down together, and that will take you into the temperature mode, which that is the temperature mode right now. And you can change it from 200 to 600, and as you can tell, I'm cranking down. I'm at 520. So to set the temperature, you cannot have the RDA on there. It cannot be registering an RDA. Alright, you do have to have it off. Let's go ahead and go down to 430. Let's hit the button here, the fire button, to ignite it. And then we'll go ahead and put the RDA on. Alright, so we hit the fire button, and then we'll back out. And then we'll hit the button again. It says if this is a new coil or same coil, we'll hit new coil. And then I did do that wrong. So let's back this back off, lock it again, lock it, get into the temp mode. Okay, then we hit the temp mode. So then we'll screw the atomizer back on. New coil. Now we're 2 degrees. As you can tell, it's a little bit of a learning curve. I don't know it 100%, but we do got that set up for degrees now. As you can see at the bottom, it does say 440 degrees Fahrenheit. So we can go ahead and fire this thing. What I like about this is we can go ahead and get some, let's go ahead and put some boosted juice in this. Alright. And what I like about this is it will regulate the degrees and the wattage for you as you're holding this, and you never get a dry hit. I've never had a dry hit with this thing. So we'll just sit here and we'll just keep on firing it. But I have noticed that it does have to have something on there. You can't just have no cotton. It does have to register cotton, because if you do have some of the cotton on there and another piece of cotton is not registering on there, then you might get a little bit of a dry hit. So you got to make sure all the cotton is on there, is touching all over. And I do have weak battery right now. There it is. So we can just keep firing, and as you can see, the wattage is changing, and we're still no burnt coils or anything like that. And as you can tell, the wattage is changing on this, and the temperature is as well. So as the juice is weakening, it just keeps going. See, now it just quit, and then we let off. So that's how that works on this. So anyway, my batteries are weak on this right now, but that is how it works. You do got to make sure cotton is surrounding the coil though. So because if you don't have cotton surrounding the coil, you will actually get a little bit like a part of the coil will get cherry red. I don't know if you guys seen that, but you do have to make sure you have good coverage with the cotton, because you will get a certain area that might light up on you. So if you're going to use this, to use the temperature control right, make sure you got good coverage of cotton, and make sure you got all your connections nice and tight with the nichrome or the nickel wire with the Ni200 wire. You got to make sure those two things, or it will not work properly. I have noticed that. So as you can tell, I don't know if you noticed at the beginning I started, cotton was off a little bit, so I had to fluff the cotton up a little bit to get it back to where it needs to be. And then you've seen it die down and it worked perfect with no cherry redness, no nothing. So you won't get no dry hits as long as you get that your nickel wire and all that stuff to normal. Alright. So anyway, my batteries are dead right now. So let's go ahead and, as I still got a little bit left on here, let's go ahead and we'll bring this back up to the top, vape on a little bit more, and talk a little bit more before the batteries go completely dead. Alright guys, see you up the top side. So alright guys, that was the vaporflask version 3 temperature controlled mod review, and once again I did get this from focalec.com, and I will put a link in the description down below so you guys can check her out. I think it was somewhere around $60 to $67 for this shipped to my door. Excellent device, really been enjoying it. Fits real nice in the hands. I showed you all the up close and all the things you can do with this mod. I showed you how the wattage just moves up and down as it goes along, as it gets a little hits a little bit of wet juice, and then it picks back up, loses the juice, drops back down, just keeps doing that until it's, I mean, you don't get no dry hits. I haven't had any dry hits. Tons of fucking vapor, and that's at 35 watts with this nickel wire coming in at 0.16. I am at the bottom end of the nickel wire, but one thing is you do need to use, unless you want to wrap a ton of times, like 20 times or whatever, you get the bigger gauge wire. But if you don't want to wrap that much, 28, 30 gauge, this is 30 gauge nickel wire in here. You can get some 26 gauge, but you're going to need to wrap it, 15, 16, maybe 20 times. But you can't do it. But I wouldn't go no higher than 26 gauge. You're going to have a hard time getting it to read 0.16 on even at dual coils. Single coil, you have to wrap a lot to get it, but you will get it probably eventually. So I would recommend somewhere 26 down to 30 gauge for the nickel wire, depending on how big of a coil you want to build. 30 gauge, it's like 7 wraps with 30, or no, it's 10 wraps with 30 gauge to get 0.16 is what I got, around an 1/8 inch. So yeah, let's go ahead and take there a few more vapes. We'll see if we get dry. As you can tell, tons of vapor production. And I can tell whenever it first hits, it's warm, and then it cools, gets cooler and cooler for the wattage to allow it not to get dry hits. That's at 9 watts. It's going down to 9 watts right now. That's at 5 watts with the temperature controlled. Works real well. So yeah, that is the review of the vaporflask dna40 temperature controlled mod. Works real well. I highly recommend it. 40 watts, never get any more dry hits. So alright guys, till next time.